Welcome back everybody to the next part. In this one we'll talk about sculpting the landscape. So I'll introduce you to some of the landscape sculpting tools, and we're gonna sculpt our landscape. We're gonna form some paths, some raised grounds, and some random noise terrain all over the place. And we're also gonna do some detailing of the painting after this. So let's get into Unreal Engine. So this is where we left off. We made a little path over here. We'll see how it looks once we sculpt. So let's go into our landscape mode again, and in sculpt you'll see all these tools. So let me explain some of the tools that you will need. First of all is the sculpt tool. You can either raise the ground or dip the ground. To raise the ground, you just hold your mouse click and you'll raise the ground, and if you hold shift and click, you'll dip the ground. This is the tool that you'll use mostly. And another one is we have a smooth tool. That is quite self-explanatory. If you have hard edges, it will smooth things out. So right now we don't have much hard edges for now, so I can't show you this yet. And another one will use noise to deform the terrain like this, very randomly. So let's actually get started with our sculpt tool for now. We're going to change our tool strength to about 0.4 and use a smaller brush size. I want to make sure that our church is standing on some sort of like a high ground. So we're going to raise this up a little, like this. And now we can flatten this by using a flatten tool, like that. Now it is kind of raised, and we can smooth out the edges like so. And right here we want to dip the ground, so shift and click. We don't want to do it too much, so around there will be fine. And let's flatten this out around there, and let's smooth some of the ground over there. Let's raise this ground a little bit so it's going like going uphill, kind of like that. And let's dip down our tool strength and brush size a little bit. As for our path, we're gonna dip it down a little bit, so tool strength even lower, like that. Let's smooth the hard edges out, that. And for our sculpt tool, we're gonna raise some of the ground around here. Let's change our brush size to a little bit bigger. We're gonna raise the ground that is not around the path. That. And that looks alright. Save this. If you are Nanite enabled, the saving packages will take quite some time if you make some changes to your terrain. So just wait for a bit. Now once it's saved, your Nanite will be enabled again, just like that. You can see some artifacts going on around here. So let's turn off Nanite for now. We don't need it yet. Now let's go back into our material instance and let's change our roughness to 2. So it doesn't reflect too much. Right now the lighting is really bad, but we're gonna change this later on. Let's go back into our sculpt and let's smooth things out around here. that, and let's change our brush size. Make this higher a little bit like that too. That. Okay, so let's paint in some of our dirt again. So tool strength down, brush size around there is fine. Let's up the tool strength a little. Let's paint this path leading to our church like this. Place down the church pretty soon, and yeah, that should look all right. So right now what we want is we want to make sure to flatten this part. So make sure you select the place that you want to take reference of. So for instance around here, and then flatten these out like this. That. And then we're gonna sculpt some hills at the back. So let's make the brush size a little bit bigger. Like that. And maybe even smaller. Get up a little bit. And we're gonna use our noise tool to change how they look. And they now look like hills and mountains at the back. And even raise this up. So. And that is where our church will be placed around here. I think this might be a little bit too much, so let's smooth this out a little. Smaller brush size, smooth these out. Smooth the hard edges out with the brush like this. I think we should be fine now. So, let's rotate our directional light a little bit so it's coming from the right direction. Select the directional light and then use the gizmo to rotate until you can see everything quite clearly. So let's go back into our landscape and smooth these edges out a little. So let's use our tool strength a little bit down, brush size down, smooth these out. Like that. That will look alright. So let's go back into our paint, and we're going to paint in some rock parts around here. Tool strength down, delete some parts. Rocks over here, like that. Some rock edges. Okay, we'll go back to our layer 1 and cover some of these up like that. Now, I want our mossy ground a little bit more saturated. So let's go into our base, our material instance, and in the layer 1, we have desat. So if you increase the value, it will desaturate. But if you decrease the value, it will saturate it even more. That. And we can even add a tint amount and tint to be a little bit darker green. So just like that will do. And let's save this. And we have this over here now. So in the next part, we're gonna place down a cinematic camera, and I'll also explain you what cinematic camera is. I'll tell you everything about the settings of the cinematic camera, and we can also view the basic composition, and we can further detail our ground sculpts. So I'll see you in the next one.